Welcome everybody. My name is Miles. Today I'm going to be replacing a spring on a FlySky NB4 Noble. I broke a spring maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago. At the track a couple hours before a race, before the races, which kind of sucks. The course is going to break when you're using it, so did it at the track. It's kind of a pain in the butt. Took over a half an hour, easy. With all the things that were going on there, probably took longer, but it wasn't easy. It's doable. It's not worth sending it in. It's definitely worth doing it yourself. If not, hire somebody or have somebody do it. Buy them a lunch or whatever, but make sure you throw in a 12-pack. What I did then is I had some other issues with it powered on, and I had to wait for an update as far as the response. So I ended up buying another one. Of course, the new one didn't have a problem, and I didn't need the updates. So that was, because other people at the club got a bunch of these. They didn't have any problems, so I ordered another one. Obviously, it's a different version. I like these radios. Very well balanced, very nice. Quick story is, has somebody coming, they're a newbie, and all newbies, and myself, whoever, they're driving like you're drunk. So he said, well, I'm really left-handed. Oh, you are? Okay, well, that's my problem. I'm left-handed, so I just went like that, and then I handed it to him. so I prove it. We're all start out the same way. But I like these radios. They're real nice. I bought 2 of them, and right now I only have 1.5. But this one, the spring that I did in the spring itself that was in there. Of course, when the spring falls, everything falls apart inside, so you got to figure out how to put it together. And all I did is on the spring, I took it here. Got one on there, piece of wood there. I took it and just bent it, but I bent it like in the middle because you want it dead center in the middle of the spring, so it's not rubbing up against something. And I did it real slow, so it wouldn't have a stress factor. It wouldn't be stressed. Probably would last a long time, but first one broke. I'm going to get it out of there. Plus, I need more videos on this to see how it's done, and people need to figure out whether they want to do it or not, because there are some very critical areas that are could damage it, or you could rip a cable, and it's not hard to do. So I'm giving you a ahead of time warning. What I like about the new radio, which was interesting when I got it, and I've had it now for, I don't know, 3 weeks a month. It came with springs, 2 springs. I was like, cool. No manual. You can probably get online. Probably need it translated. The old one came with a manual. No springs, of course. So I'm going to put one of these springs in. Open up here. There's a lot of these at our track, these radios. And I already looked at them, so I had them sitting up on top. I'll leave that out because I'm going to put the other ones back. Leave those out there. So that's about it. Let's get started. I kind of got the tools ready. I know what I need. I've already poked them in the hole and found out that I need a 2.5 millimeter, a 1.5 millimeter for the backside. There's 3 screws on the backside. Of course, you got to take off the steering wheel. And I got a couple of Phillips and 1 plain screwdriver. You'll also need a Hemo or a tweezers of some sort. Tweezers has to be flat. If you notice that gap here, I'm going to move my camera, so I'm making me reach. That has to be flat. I got 3 cameras going on here. I'll make sure you can focus it, because if it's at a point, you'll be grabbing a cable with something that's sharp at a point, you'll be damaging the cable. So it's very important to have it flat. Hemo seems to work, the best for me anyways. So let's get started. I got a bunch of cups here for all the different parts I'm taking out. Hopefully I can do it with 3. Now I'll get more. I'll take off the knob. Leave that screw right in there. And I did this a while ago, so I couldn't tell you. The first time was a pain in the butt. Second time, hopefully it'll only be a semi-pain in the butt. 3 screws in the backside. One, you got to get it at an angle like this. Put the steering wheel at an angle. Then the other 2, because there's 1 on each side, you have to go on each side of the radio. I'm going to leave the battery on because it makes it more stable. I mean, once I get this off with a cable hanging or whatever, it'll be able to sit it upright. That might make it. I think that's easier to put it together. We're going to find out. I could be wrong on that area. And there's a couple of difficult spots in here that when I take this off, I want to make sure that there's a cable there that you don't let it fall. Don't let it fall. Open it up really slow, and you can see that cable there. You cannot pull on that. And anytime you work with a small cable like that, go slow. Just slow it down. I'm going to get my glasses on here. That's where the screwdriver is going to come in handy. The connector itself on each side of it, and I'll show you this after I do it. I need to concentrate here. Yes, I'm going to get a better grip on this. On each side, I'm just pushing it up. The connector, you might have to do it a couple times. Do not let that drop. Do not pull on that cable, whatever you do. Just take your time. And once I get it up, I should be able to grab the hemo and pull it out. I cannot. It means I got to go up farther yet. This is a critical area. You do not want to drop that. Okay. It's all the way up. It came out. So you can see this connector right here. I took it and pushed out there, and I pushed out here on each side of the connector, and I pulled the cable out. Same thing what I have to do to this small one now. I'm going to take the small one, I'm going to push on either side, because that board has to come on. I'm not pushing that side. I'm not pushing very hard at all. Even if you got to do it 3 or 4 times like that, the other one, I'm pushing so lightly on it that I got to do it 2 or 3 times on each side to get it completely out. I'm going to move this out of the way. This is why I left the battery on. I might have to take it off to put it together if it gets in the way. And then I'm just going to pull this out nice and slow. I'm not putting any stress on that cable at all. And it looks like there's 2 screws here. 1 screw and right there to get the logic off. And I'm going to make sure I don't damage the cable. I don't touch the cable. I tell you right now, I'm going to need more than 3 bends to put this stuff in. Take this logic board off. I don't know the cable on the other side. It shouldn't be, but I don't remember. Nope, no cable. There's the logic on it. At this point, the connector on each side, they just sit in the slot. They just sit there. These little arms for the trip, the switch SM2, SW3, and SW2. And that's it. By the way, I have 3 cameras. I got a S21, iPhone 13 Pro Max, and then I also have a webcam, which is a C92. It's a Logitech C922 that I'm recording this on. This cable I can take off, but it's hard to get in there at that jack. Way deep inside there, it's really hard to get in the jack. So I'm going to be really careful. Might be easier once I get this out to take this off. But right now I can't get in there to pull it out maybe. Well, I'm going to try. Yeah, if I use a really small screwdriver, I might be able to get it either side to get this cable out. It's going to be harder to get it out than it is to put in. But, yeah, it is. I think if it was you guys, or if you feel as though at all, just leave it, and you should be able to pull it out by your hand. And I'm going to put it down the same way so I know how it goes in. There, now I won't damage the cable. At this point, I don't know. I'm going to take those 3 screws out. There's 3 screws. 1, 2, and 3. I'll take those out. And I need another couple bins. If you're an RC guy, you should be able to do this. All small little parts like this, figuring them out, putting together. I don't think you're going to have a problem, but that's my opinion. See if I can get this off. I have to do some prying. Looks like this should come off. There's a cover here. You can see it, the outline of it. Because I can't get it off because of this cover. These have to push out that way. So I got to somehow get that cover off. Cover does not want to come out. Really? Cover, yeah. Everything's loose. Loose, it's just that cover. Let's see if I can. I don't want to put stress in those things. That cover does not want to come off. I'm going to push on the knob because I see that's part of that. There we go. There we go. I had to push on the knob. Now I push on the knob, that cover snapped. I didn't push that. Yeah, kind of pushed medium. I pushed a little bit on it. Take this cover off. Get it out of the way. This last section here. Keep things in order. Now I'm going to take this off. And there's a spring assembly. Study that spring assembly. The problem is, if your spring is broke, everything's going to be laying inside. I heard somebody else say it had this problem. Their biggest problem is once they got to this point right here, when that spring breaks, everything falls inside. I remember doing that, and I had to sit there and figure out how it went back together. And the only thing, what really mattered the most was there's a bump. And I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to try all 3 cameras because you need to be able to see this. There's a bump on this post, the steering knob. When it screws to that post right there, there's a bump on there. There's an arm. There's an arm right there. That arm has to face the spring. If you got that arm facing the spring, you're good to go. Otherwise, you might end up taking it apart again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it apart just like I'm taking it off the post here. I'm peeling it off the post here. It's going to let me do that or not. And all these parts, just like this. This is how I found mine, right there. I had 3 different parts laying inside. You have to figure out how to put those together. And here's that post I was telling you about. That post right there. I'm going to try all 3 cameras. I'm going to hold it there for a little bit. It's a flat side. It's kind of, I'm going to all the cameras to be able to see it. So I'm going to get that different spring. And I know this arm goes back in the post. And then you can see on the end of this arm, or one spring clips, and you can see on the other piece, the tensioner. On the other side of the tensioner, you can see where the spring clips on. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put, and I'll zoom in the camera, but right now I'm going to put that arm on. Actually, I'm going to push it out of the way. It's sticking out there, so I can put the spring on it, because they fit pretty tight. And then what I'm going to do, once I get that spring fit on there, I'm going to take the tensioner, I'm going to put it on the other side of the spring. Maybe they give you 2 springs, so when it goes flying, you can't find it. Other side of the spring, then I'm going to slide the tensioner in. Yep, there it went flying. And I got it. So if I let off this, this is going to go flying. And I'm going to show you what it is. And I have to, if I let up on that, I'm just putting tension on it so the spring doesn't go lax and fall off. Now I'm going to grab it with my other hand here. I'm going to pull it back, because I got to pull it back far enough to be able to put the shaft in, to be able to put this in. And remember, this ring goes towards the spring. So I'm peeling it back. And there we go. Snapped into place. There it is. And if I turn it now to test it, if I turn it past these points that block it, the case that makes it so you can't go beyond the point, it'll pop, it'll fall apart. I know it will. I hardly moved it and it fell apart. But we'll test it out here after I get it kind of semi put together. I am not using much tension on that spring. I remember loosening it up, because I like a real soft tension. I don't like much tension. I'm just inspecting it just one more time. That's what it looks like. It took me 5 tries to do that. This was the difficult part. The next part is just don't damage the ribbon cables. There's that. I'm going to start putting it back together. It goes in this case, nice and neatly. Okay. 3 screws. I'm going to put these springs back in the bag. I should be able to tell which one my old one is. That's that one right there. Back in the bag. Just got to be gentle with this. All the screws, I'm just snugging them, and then I'll go back and tighten them down once I get a firm grip on this. Coming down home stretch here. I'm going to go double check the screws, each one. I'm going to put this cover on. This cover should just snap right back on. Yeah, it does. I don't know why it's so hard to get off, but it was. I'm going to put this circuit board on. Goes on this way. And the reason why I think it goes on this way, because you can tell that center piece right here has a flat spot. That's a flat spot there. This circuit board, if you can look in that hole, there's a flat spot. So there's only one way this board can go on. Ooh. 2 more screws and do the cables, and we're set. We're all ready to go. Just snugging these down. I don't want to scratch the logic board. I see some surface mount stuff on there, so now I'll get a good grip on it. And I'll just snug them a little bit more. Just snug. Now I'm ready for the cables. The cable I'm going to do first is that small one I set there. Sure, I set it there, but I didn't see which way it goes this way. And these things just sitting here, these little plastic arms for hitting SW2, SW3. So I'm going to put that cable in now, the small one, just like that. I'll need to make sure that they're open all the way, both sides. I'm very little tension, not hardly doing anything, just moving them. Take the hemostat. This one I have to go straight down a little bit. Once I get that straight down, I want to aid it with my finger and push down on each side. Back and forth, back and forth. Don't want to do it in one swoop. That's that. Hemostat here. You know when it's in all the way, when you don't see hardly any metal sticking out of the end right here. Right there, there's hardly any metal sticking out. Now I'm going to push on each side. They're gold fingers. I'm going to push on each side right here. That side and this side, just a little bit at a time. Nothing aggressive. Slowly goes in. Double check it. I'm going to actually use a 1.5 hex thing. I think that might be a little easier because there's a flatter surface on the end. Yeah, that was a better way to do it. I'm going to double check the other one. I got one more cable to do and we're done. After I put these in, I think this is going to be tricky because if I put these switches on, this is where I thought I might have to take the battery off. If I put these side levers on, they kind of come off. They're just sitting there. One side tucks under the logic board. I'm going to open that connector up there. I'm going to grab the... I don't know which way is the best way to do it without it falling off. I'll try it this way and see what happens. This doesn't feel right. There's one connector, they just fall off. So I got to bring this to this. Can't do it sideways. Dang. There's no easy way. I'm going to try it sideways once. There's no way to grab it either. Try it like this. I have my screwdriver that ready. try it like this one. I ain't giving you much room here. Yeah, that worked out. Push on each side. That worked out. They haven't fallen off yet. Cannot pull on this cable at all. Right now is a critical spot. There, cool. Can't let go. Get one screw started here. Just going to snug one down. We're going to be home free here. Woo-hoo. Double check my screws. I got one more to do on the bottom. I'll have to move this out of the way to do it. Just nice and a little bit snug. Put this on. There's a one way this can go on. It's only one way. .5 millimeter. It's a little bit snug. I'll turn this thing on. Leave all my tools out just in case. Yep. 9387. 9387. Try these knobs out.
Center point. Center point. Center point.
Yeah, we're good to go. These I never programmed. I only use the two top ones. For the longest time, I shouldn't say the longest time, for a month or so, I was using this for trim, the side things. But these are potentiometers, so when I went to switch from car to car, it won't save my settings. These are electronic, so if I use this for steering and throttle trim, I'm sorry, not trim. Yeah, it is trim. These are endpoint. My trims are this. That way it saves the settings. So we're good to go. So it wasn't too bad. It was no fun.
Shutting down.
That's that. Appreciate you watching. Subscribe, hit the like button. That'll help out. If you have any questions, comment below. Throw something at me. Hopefully, I got 3 cameras here. I'm probably not going to show all the pictures. If you need more detailed pictures or from the other cameras, you need more images, let me know. I can send those over to you. So, hope this helps, and comment. Have a good day.